Hello everybody, and welcome back to Innovation Insights with Ina. Hello. Today we're talking to Kate O'Neill, and she's, among other things, the author of this fabulous book right here. So it's called Pixels in Place. You should definitely get a copy of this if you haven't done yet. And also, she's the CEO and co-founder of KO Insights. So check out her website and see what amazing stuff she does and what she already did. So just to give you a brief introduction to this great person we have here, Kate O'Neill is what she's referring to preparing humanity to get ready for this tech-driven future. We already are in, everybody of us. And she calls herself a tech humanist. We will get into this in a few seconds. And she is calling for a so-called human-centric approach in this digital world that we have. Digital transformation is a big theme, a big topic within this book and within her talks. She will be hosting 2 sessions at the Innovation Leadership Days this year, taking place in Potsdam in November 11th and 12th. So check out our website and see what she's got in store for you. Make sure you come with your whole team and enjoy what we can say. So Kate, thanks again for having for having time for us today. We really appreciate this. Hi.
Pleasure to see you.
So I already mentioned this before in your book and as well on your website and in your you're writing lots of blogs as well. So in your writings also you're referring to yourself as being a tech humanist or calling for tech humanism, so to speak. Right. Can you just explain to us what you mean by that?
Yeah, sure. So tech humanism, I feel like, is the natural integration of the dynamics of this increasing pressure or mounting desire to automate a lot of what goes on around us and infuse our lives with more and more data and more technology, robots, machines, etc., and artificial intelligence, of course. Like, that's one side of the equation. And on the other side, I feel like we're also recognizing that it's very important that we respect the privacy and data integrity of ourselves as humans, and that we create meaningful and dimensional and relevant human experiences around all of that. So I feel like those are perfectly aligned forces. As long as you approach them in an aligned way, you can bring those objectives together. But what it takes to do that is to take this kind of human-centric digital transformation approach within business. And it means understanding purpose, and it means understanding, priorities and using those resources effectively and so on. So a lot of that is what I will talk about in our session in Potsdam.
Okay, great. Yeah, thanks for explaining this to us. And I think we are all tech humanists, so.
Yeah, I hope so.
From your point of view, I mean, you've done a lot. You've done a lot of great projects with big names like Toshiba and so on. You've implemented intranets and all. You have done so many things with big data, probably as well, with people on the other side. So. In your book, you're referring to something called integrated human experience design. Can you just allude a little bit of this to us?
Yeah, so integrated human experience design is the model I propose for us to think about the ways in which online and offline experiences are increasingly happening together. Yeah. We're going through the physical world, but we're increasingly connected to the digital world as we're doing that. So when we think about web design or, even mobile web design, it's really only one facet of this much, much larger equation. We need to be thinking about the context, the physical context people are in when they're consuming and experiencing digital content and interactions. So this is a way to think about all of the ways that, all of the contexts people are in and the holistic experiences that they have moving through the world and kind of consuming people's business content and experiences. The new opportunity in my new forthcoming book, which actually should be out, fingers crossed, by the time.
What's the name? Do you have the name already?
It's called Tech Humanist. So yes. So hopefully everyone will see it and go, "That's me. I'm a tech humanist."
Oh, great.
They will relate to it. But in this book, I'm also proposing a model that builds on the integrated human experience design sort of methodology and talks about how we now think about building those integrated, meaningful experiences within an automated framework. And that as we're increasingly designing systems that could become automated, or we're already designing for automated systems, I find that we need to think more and more about how to make the most meaningful human parts of those experiences kind of come alive in a dimensional way at scale when they're automated. So that's the big opportunity, I feel like, now. And I'm excited to be proposing that and putting that forward for people.
Okay. And one thing that I found pretty interesting in your book was, I mean, it's obvious, but nobody's really talking about it, is the convergence of the digital and the reality, how we say.
Yeah.
Something that's around us, something we can touch, that we feel, you know, metaphors of place. You're talking about this as well. And on the other hand, you have the so-called still very sharp, distinctive digital world.
Right.
So, this might, I think some people will, you know, most certainly have fear about all of this. But on the other hand, it's probably a chance for us to step into the future and also to be innovative, because that's what we try to bring across in our conference. So with that in mind, what do you think are the best chances for us to actually utilize this, your framework, to build innovative products that make sense to people?
So I think the opportunity is going to be so much around figuring out what makes the business successful and what makes the human successful. You know, so if the business is going to be the driver of a lot of the emerging technologies, because all of what's driving the growth of technology, or not all of, but most of what's driving the growth of technology is business motive, profit motive, right? So that's on one side. But on the other side, we need to be thinking about, you know, what makes a fulfilled, meaningful human experience, and what are we all trying to accomplish as we go through the world interacting with businesses, you know, as a consumer, as a user, as a patient, as a guest, as what role we're in. But the larger picture of that is this kind of dimensional human experience. So the more we can reconcile those things, I think the business has an opportunity to create innovative experiences like wearables and, you know, virtual reality and augmented reality solutions and all kinds of things that are fun and interesting and cool and add a level of innovative, memorable kind of experience to the whole thing, while also kind of keeping in mind the real humanity of the people who are consuming and interacting in those experiences. It's a both and equation, and I think that the more it's approached as that, with both of those perspectives in mind, the more successful it will be.
Yeah. So I think something that's pointed out by you as well was, like you said before, it's really interesting, or it's something we should keep in mind, that we're not just fulfilling one role as the customer. There's no such thing as the customer. And I think to us, we talked about this today in the team as well. This is a challenge, of course, because you have to keep in mind so many different roles and so many different, you know, circumstances you live in and countries and all of this. So it's a challenge, but I think this is just the right way to step into the future. And that's
I'm glad to hear that. Yeah, I mean, I think it's only natural that you're going to think about the human in the contextual role in which you're interacting with them. So of course, if they're performing the role of customer or potential customer as you interact with them, of course, that's going to infuse the way that you know, message them and create experiences for them. But I think the way that we make sure that we're getting the most nuance in those interactions is to think broader and think about, you know, the sort of emotional value that this interaction has, or what kind of context the person might be in physically when they're consuming this experience, or what they're coming from and going to. I mean, all of these kinds of things where we can think about, you know, what I think we would traditionally call personas or use cases, but in a bigger way, a more holistic, more dimensional way. I think every kind of way in which we do that gives us a strategic advantage and allows us to create innovation that is more exciting and is more aligned with the future of humanity.
Yeah. Future of humanity. Sounds great.
Yeah, we'll leave it at that, right?
Coming to your sessions at the Innovation Leadership Days, we will be holding a tutorial and a keynote on the second day. So on Sunday we have the tutorial day, full day tutorial, full on. So everybody's interested in that, just get back to me. I can tell you more about this, how this will work. We have nice social events afterwards, so you should come. And the next day we will have the keynote day with our 5 more speakers. And as your tutorial is called Integration, Automation, and the Future of Meaningful Human Experience. Can you just, give a few hints or just a reason why people should come? What do you think what can they take away to implement in their daily work with their team from your tutorial at the Innovation Leadership Days?
Yeah, so I mentioned a minute ago that I'm debuting in this new book this automated model or methodology for creating integrated human experiences, and I will go into that in much more detail in this tutorial. So very practical, sort of hands-on takeaways for people to be able to go back into their environments if they're designers or developers or strategists or business leaders within their companies. No matter what level they're performing at, they're doing this innovation, they can think about this innovation in this very kind of rich way and create these experiences that are either going to become automated or are intentionally automated from the beginning, or they're just data rich and tech driven. Whatever the case may be, whatever situation that people are creating, almost guaranteed every business is creating a lot of data-driven, tech-centric kind of experiences. And the opportunity I'll be presenting is how to think about making the interactions with the humans on the other side of those transactions as rich and meaningful and dimensional as possible, because rich, meaningful, dimensional experiences create more profit. So, I want people to have an altruistic motive for it, but at the end of the day, that's going to be the motive that drives a lot of business.
We're all here for a reason, so of course. Okay, so Kate, thank you so much for your time. I think
my pleasure.
Our viewers will probably know a little bit more about what you're all about personally, and about what you're trying to get across. Again, just have a look out for the book Tech-Humanist, right?
Yeah.
So just let us know, Kate. Also here in our office, we would like to have another copy of your book. So let us know.
Of course.
And for everybody else out there, thanks for your time and for watching. And just make sure to come to the Innovation Leadership Days. Contact me. My name is Ina, and I will answer all your questions. Not all, but most. Goodbye.